Hey John, listen, thanks for the opportunity to jump back on with the Real Estate Coffee Break on Saturday morning. Listen, I really appreciate it, and thank you for the time that we're going to get to spend and talk to your audience a little bit about Facebook. Now, for those of you that were here last week, we talked about the social media platforms that we really want to focus on and get good on as a real estate professional. And those were Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Now today we're going to specifically focus on Facebook, and there's been a lot of discussion and talk about Facebook in the news, how it's good, how it's bad. From our perspective, we're looking at it because that's where the audience is, right? We're not going to talk about politics, and we're just talking about our ability to communicate with large groups of people. And when we talk about large groups of people, Facebook has over 2.5 billion users on the planet. And it specifically, if we talk about the U.S. itself, there's actually been studies shown, and this was actually early in 2020, that the average U.S. user of Facebook is on the platform like 30 minutes a day. It's a great market to talk to people, to engage with people, and we're going to talk a little bit about how to do that today. Really, there's actually three ways that we're going to talk about on the show today. One of this, and I'm going to make this assumption that we're already doing this, we're going to talk about right quick, is the content being on point. Now, what do I talk about when I say content being on point? We're not talking about cat videos. We are not talking about what I ate today. No, we're actually talking about relevant content to real estate, right? We're real estate professionals. We're real estate investors. We might be attorneys that deal with real estate or whatnot. This is relevant content to the industry. You know what? It might be talking about meaningful data and info. What are mortgage rates doing? It could also be a case of just a value add hints and tricks. If we're a real estate investor, we found the house and bought it that had the proverbial dog under the dining room table. The house smelled like cat urine, and we actually created a diamond out of this. And here's a video or just a set of screen pictures or whatnot we use where we talk about what we did to the house to make it that diamond. All of that is actually real estate related content, and we're going to presume already that it's on point. If it's not, that's where we want to start. Then the other two legs of our stool that we're going to talk about are, one is location. And when we talk about that, that's relevant content to your service area, right? We're not in San Francisco. We're not in St. Louis. Most of us aren't even in St. Simon's Island, right? But it's the different, the areas, the local flair, the history, our leaders, what to do when you're here. Of a specific local area, and putting out content that specifically speaks to that. Because that's of the interest to the people in our area who we want to engage with. Now, one of the things that this associates to is it really ties into YouTube, which we're going to talk about next week, and I'm going to go a little bit more in depth to that, specifically to this location strategy. But suffice to say is be here next week on the Real Estate Coffee Breaks when we talk about YouTube. The third one for today, talking about affiliation. And this is where we intentionally limit and just shrink our tribe, narrow our tribe. Right? Really, we're actually trying to niche down to the interests and the associations that are relevant to us, because that's going to be the easiest people for us to connect with. Really, the way I actually think about that is if we go to one of the football games from last night, there's maybe 10,000 people in the stands. We are completely better off picking a side of the stadium and basically either celebrating or commiserating with one side of the stadium or the other than we are trying to present the story of the game to all of them. This relevant to all of them. If you do that, you're a news reporter, right? You're not part of either team. What you want to do, and especially as it relates to Facebook engagement, is be on one side of the team or the other. Because when you talk about engagement, relationships matter, people. It is how Facebook works, the connections and the relationships that we make. Now, again, we talked about the three parts of the stool being that the content's on point, that we're talking about our location and our affiliations. There's really two more. One, that we're going to be, that we can't talk in today, right? And unfortunately, based on the amount of time we've got today, a really short segment. But I actually wrote it up and put it in a PDF format. If you'll go to my website, swamidavesays.com, you can just put your email address in there and click Get the PDF. And you'll either get it automatically if my automation works, or if I still need to work out some bugs on my automation. If you'll just put your email address in there, click the link, I'll make sure you get the PDF to basically make the kind of the 5 hints that I can give you as a real estate professional to get your Facebook engagement and get it jump started, get it ready. So listen, guys, I appreciate it. Remember, next week we're talking about YouTube and how you can use YouTube to build your social media platforms. But with that, listen, enjoy the rest of the Real Estate Coffee Break, and I will talk to you guys next week. Thanks, John.